I don't know. I'd like to think it was Roland from the Gunslinger, but something tells me that's probably not the reference it's making.
No, it's not that.
You know, one year,
I love that story so much. I have the tattoos for it, don't I?
yeah, one year, one
Okay.
of my birthday card was a hand-drawn picture of Roland, and
That's awesome.
there was a little quote inside, and I was like really touched because I was like, "Oh, mate."
Was it Idris
Um,
Elba, or was it the one from the books?
no, it was the book days. There was no film back then, which I totally get. By the way, you were totally right about that. You
Oh,
just watch it and you're
terrible
like,
fucking film.
it's like someone half remembered the books, told it to someone else, and then that someone else wrote a film based on what they were told with all these what they could just sort of make quick notes of at the time. Like, all right, there's a pyramid and some
So I
walls.
didn't give a fuck about Idris Elba being the gunslinger. It's a fictional character. It makes no odds to me. But it just everything. It just seemed like it was forced, and it's a waste of his talents.
Mm,
You know, because he is a tremendous actor, and he was put in a shit film with such powerful source material.
yeah. And what's his name that was playing the wizard as well? That could have worked really, really well.
Oh, Matthew McConaughey as Randall
Matthew
Flagg.
McConaughey,
Yeah,
yeah, it could have been perfect. But unfortunately now the sort of as soon as someone like race or gender swaps a very established character, there are warning signs because you just think, right, the producers are those kind of people. You know,
yeah.
it's like they've that's where they focus their efforts, and you can almost hear them in the meetings getting all excited about, oh god, it'll be subversive and all that, and it's like, actually no, at this point the subversive thing to do, you know, if you're going to subvert my expectations, would to be actually like keep the person white with red hair. That would actually surprise me, or even better, an engineer that isn't a sassy woman, like an engineer that's actually just a big built guy
Just a
covered in
geezer.
oil. Yeah, a
Just a
proper
geezer.
geezer. That would subvert my expectations at this point because everything follows the same format, and I'm like, okay, cool. So you've gender and race bended everyone. You
I
know,
think
apart from
Star Trek is about the only one that hasn't given in yet, isn't it?
no, but I think that was always woke enough to. No, it wasn't woke enough because Star Trek: The Next Generation was always really good for showing. It would show different sides of things and have it debate out
Oh, I mean,
live.
I mean the new
Um,
films.
but I think that the issue with Star Trek is that not. But no, I agree with you. The new films haven't a little bit, but not too much. They've walked the line. But the new series is around it, so like Picard and
Ugh,
um,
that's just
whatever that new one was called.
turgid bullshit. I can't be doing with that at all.
Picard is just him being all old,
Yeah,
like,
I
and then just
tried. I really tried.
yeah, I did, when the music, the old music came in, and he was like, "Make it so," but then like it's just loads of like strong, independent women just shouting abuse at Picard, and it's like, and he just takes it like a little bitch. There's a captain that comes into it, like episode 3 or 4, and when it announces it, when it not announces, when you first see him, he's sat there with his cigar and his whiskey, and he's got a fresh injury, you know, like a shard of something, and you're like, oh my god, have we actually got an archetype of a strong man here? And then as soon as all that's cleaned up and you've established that he's like a bit of a Han Solo type, he just gets shouted at by other women and just takes it like a good little bitch. And you're like, oh, for God's sake. Um, there's no right in there. They're just what they do is they just get themes. They're like, oh, we'll have strong women. And it's like, yeah, but where's the fucking story,
That's why.
dickhead?
That's why they need Picard to slap a bitch.
Well, I mean, he's
Just
just
haul off. I only saw her as far as where that admiral or whatever she was screaming at him in the room.
yeah, yeah, I love it. Yeah,
Why didn't you just haul off? Because it's not real, so it doesn't matter. But just haul off and just a proper, get his shoulder behind it a bit. Like a Geordie fella whose wife hasn't bought the brown sauce.
just
It's
but
a good
even then
idea.
he sat there like a little bitch. He had a bit of a moan at her, but he was just like, okay, no, no. And he's like, and again with that, like subvert my expectations by would be the boss being a man. Because you just knew it was going to be a woman. It was like a woman going in, woman. Every level's just a woman, and it's like,
To
for
be
God's
honest,
sake.
though, a woman boss who's a complete bastard is quite accurate.
Dude, I was watching Spirited Away. My daughter loves those movies. I think, especially because Miyazaki, he always write. I think he does anyway. But to my knowledge, everyone I've ever seen, the lead character tends to be a younger girl. Um, every time, but it's done. I swear, he must have daughters because it's every film is a love letter to femininity. and and I love that she loves it because the women, none of the women are in it are like, finally we get to shine, you know, finally girls are gonna be on top. It's like, and we're watching Spirited Away today, and whatever her name is, the woman that runs the bathhouse, everyone's terrified of her, and she's like scary, but she's strong and she's vulnerable and she's got positives and weaknesses, and she's a person. And I'm so glad that my daughter's getting that. You know, all the women in it are different. Some of them are dicks. Some of them are amazing. Some of them are naive. And I'm like, that's what I want. Not like,
Yeah, but you know, that's not how it is now. Women have to, because apparently strong women are never shown in cinema, even though, you know, I would say Alien, Aliens, Terminator. There's been a few. But now it's at the expense of everything, and it's so self-defeating. Like that Ghostbusters film, to me, was abhorrent. And when they talk about making Idris Elba James Bond, or a woman James Bond, and I go, oh, I don't like that. It's not because of racism or misogyny. It's actually fucking insulting on a lot of levels, because it's like saying to women, we're not going to write you strong characters and films of your own. There you go, little girl. You can have this one for a while, and when it doesn't work, we'll go ho hum. But I think what they need to do with James Bond films is set them in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Yeah, well, they said that about Austin Powers, didn't they?
But he could be James Bond then, couldn't he?
You know, Austin Powers was the best James Bond film in years, wasn't it? It was, because you kind of got it. There's a good point there. Mr. Kelsey-One's just said Matilda. That was a good one for that. Yes. Very much along the lines of Studio Ghibli in terms of it. That Matilda could have been a Ghibli movie, definitely, 100%. And Preacher was very good as well whilst we're on it.
But it's just films have to draw people as two-dimensional, don't they? It's, you know, all men must be this, all women must be that. You know, we know that the white man is going to be the bumbling fool compared to the black guy, and the woman's going to be this, and then the white man's going to be that, and it just swings round constantly. Get back to the days of Cary Grant and John Wayne and Clark. Well, maybe not Clark Gable, because allegedly he was a bit rapey. But some of the better people, the non-rapey ones. American Gods was fantastic.
It was, although I didn't realise until halfway through season 2 there was a new writer. Like, season 1 was amazing, really amazing. And I remember halfway through season 2 that the black guy that had come over with the slaves, who'd been stunning in season 1, was just like all of a sudden really obsessed with slavery again.
Yeah,
and it was like he went from being like a god who was kind of above the fact that had happened. You know what I mean? He took advantage of it. And in the second one, he was kind of like, it was exactly that. It was that ideological thing of like, all he was trying to do was sort of see, it seemed like he was trying to prove that people were just as good as white people. And it was like, they completely wrote his character out of importance. It's like, he wasn't a god anymore. He was just a black man with issues, you know. And I was like, and then I realized it's new writers. I was like, right. But I'm hopeful for season 3. I hope they get it back on.
Season 2 was short as well, wasn't it?
It ended, and I was just like, I
was waiting for the next episode.
I was like, is that it? Is that your fucking Xena, eh? The good thing about Xena is it would have jokes. There'd be men in it that were dicks, but it wasn't the entire, like, there wasn't that ideology behind it where it was like all men are dicks. It's like, no, that man is a dick. That man is a sexist arsehole and should usually kick his ass or humiliate him without even that sort of thing.
I think what a lot of it was, TV shows and films didn't feel a need to follow that sort of zeitgeist, these social norms and rules. They didn't feel a need. They didn't have to. If you look at the Marvel Avengers films, with the exception of Captain Marvel, they stayed away from most of that. You know, they just stayed well away from it as well. Now, Doctor Who, as you know, Junior, I've never liked Doctor Who. Junior got into it a few years ago. All the toys. He loved watching the old black and white shows. He really did. I mean, you know yourself, he loved it.
Mate, I used to cry to Doctor Who as an adult.
Well, when
I
this
used to
new
sit there
Doctor
and
Who
cry.
started with a woman, it was me that told him to give it a shot.
Yeah.
He's a little boy. He didn't like the idea of a woman as Doctor Who. Not because he's sexist, he's too young to give a shit about that. And I went, well, it might be good. So he watched one. I said, was it good? He went, yeah. You know, that non-committal, yeah, whatever. Never wanted to watch another.
Well,
But the
yeah.
Doctor Who toys have been coming back out lately. Not wanted to watch a single episode of the new one, though.
Well, that's I mean that they've started throwing the old villains in, haven't they, to try and get people interested. But it's dead now. It's dead and gone. And
But it's my
that's
fault, obviously. I'm raising him
yeah.
to be a misogynist, despite the fact I said give it a shot. Let's try it. Might be good, might not be good. But
The thing I didn't like about the Doctor Who debate, and the debate's been raging for years before. I remember when the two male doctors before the current one, people were going, "We need a female doctor," and I always had the argument that like it. It's good for guys to be into like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger and that sort of archetype of being strong and powerful and saving people. It's good to have that, but it was always my feeling that it was very healthy to have Doctor Who as a hero as well.
Yeah.
Someone who had strength, who had immense capability of destroying, destruction, but who avoided violence and used his mind and used his personality and own the room through his wits. And I always thought like it would be a shame to remove that hero for young lads.
to be fair, this is why you've grown up to be a beta cook.
Fuck off.
Because
Why? What?
Doctor Who should be destroying shit.
Yeah, but he does.
We
though.
all
He
know
does
that the only
destroy
good one was John Hurt as the War Doctor.
shit. Oh, fuck off.
We know that because he blew shit up. If he'd been played by Sylvester Stallone, that'd have been even better. Because what men want is Ford versus Ferrari and Rambo.
Oh, mate, Ford versus Ferrari, fucking fantastic film, fucking amazing. Can't recommend it enough. I can't. And looking at the cover, looking at the adverts, I was like, I'm not into that. I'm really not. But fucking amazing. Yeah, I might watch it again soon. Actually, it was very good. It was.
I might go to the shops, buy some Brute, get some Harp.
Yeah, get one of those.
Have a really hot curry. Sit down and watch that.
I love how for the last
Whilst
10 minutes,
talking about the immigrants and things.
like people have just been lists. The chat has just been lists of everything that everyone likes, and it's off from the subject now. It's just anything that people like. It's like I like drinks. I like candy. It's great. It's just going off. Fuck Doctor Who though. I hope it dies a death, and I hope the BBC loses its license fee bullshit. It's ridiculous. It's insane. I just saw a tweet. Someone saying, I mean, I don't know how true this is, but it does happen. Someone got put in prison for 6 weeks for not paying the TV license. And it was like, think about this, right? Think about the BBC spends 60 million a year on enforcement. It spends the same as it does on its children's, just on collecting from people who won't pay. The cost of a channel on that alone, right? That person who went to prison for 6 weeks, they've got the visits, then they've got the police being involved, the courts being involved, they've got the actual prison staff, the facilities there, the food, everything, the thousands, the tens of thousands it will have cost to lock that person up. They could have given them a free TV license for life.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's unsustainable.
No one should pay a TV license, this thing.
No, it's not.
Dude, we're done.
Yeah.
We're done.